Hello to all of you tuning in, and welcome to our virtual launch party for the 2021 Bay Area Playwrights Festival. I am just thrilled to be with you all today. My name is Jordan Ramirez Puckett, she, her, and as a Bay Area playwright, I have been a fan of the Playwrights Foundation for many years and their commitment to put the playwrights first. I've been an audience member for almost a decade and have watched so many plays go through the festival. And last year, I was actually one of the 5 playwrights to be a part of the first ever virtual Bay Area Playwrights Festival, which was just a truly transformative experience. And tonight, I get the great honor of welcoming you all and being a part of announcing which playwrights are going to join us for the 2021 festival. I want to take a moment before we go any further to respectfully acknowledge that I am joining you all today from the unceded land of the Chochenyo Ohlone, who are the past, present, and future caretakers of this land. We are guests here and recognize that we benefit from living and working on their ancestral homeland. I would love to encourage everyone in this moment to take a second, introduce yourselves in the chat, maybe put the native lands that you're watching us from. And throughout this whole event, we'll have the ability to take comments and throw them up on the main screen. So please, we encourage you, if you can, to participate in any way that feels right to you and be a part of the conversation surrounding these amazing playwrights and plays. So thank you for being here, for just joining us today from wherever you are. You'll get a chance to hear from our executive artistic director, our literary managers, some readers on our literary council. You who are joining us today are going to be the first to hear these play announcements and to hear from the playwrights themselves. So I'm just so excited to begin. So, let's see. I see we have Linda Brewer here with us today. Thank you, Linda, for joining us. Valerie, yay! I'm so excited that you're with us too. Thank you. Theater is a communal event. And so even though we're not in person today, we're joining through the screen. We are so grateful that we can all virtually gather around these bold news stories and playwrights. Today also marks the beginning of our 20,000 fundraising campaign to raise money to go directly to support our playwrights and artists involved in the festival. And I can tell you from personal experience what a huge gift it is to be a part of it. So let's pull up our live display to show you all that we are starting from scratch, y'all. And our goal is to reach $1,000 by the end of this evening. So if you can donate, please click on the link in the description or text BAPF to 44321, the number on your screen. And really, a gift of any size makes an impact. Oh, hi, Sabrina. Yay, so happy you could join us too. Oh, this is so exciting. So I want to then talk about, before we announce the plays, how do we select the plays for the festival? Well, to talk a little bit about that, I like to bring on Playwrights Foundation Executive Artistic Director Jessica and our literary manager Heather to demystify the process a little bit for us.
Thank you so much, Jordan. And hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Bird Beza. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm joining you from Ohlone lands, colonially known as Hercules, California. And I'm thrilled to be sharing with you the second cohort of playwrights since I started as Executive Artistic Director at Playwrights Foundation. So thank you so much for joining us to celebrate today. Man, what a year this has been. So many things that we could say, but for us, being able to continue to uplift playwrights and their plays during this time has brought us so much purpose and joy. And I am deeply grateful for all of the hard work and care that our lit team and the readers out there have put in to getting us to where we are today. And there's so much that goes into the BAPF selection process specifically, and I want to invite Heather, who has thoughtfully guided this process, to share a little bit more.
Yes, all right, here we go. And I'm so excited. I'm seeing some reader names in the chat already. I'm Heather Helinsky, literary manager, and I use she, her pronouns. And I want to acknowledge that I live on the lands of the Lenni Lenape, colonially known as Philadelphia. This has been my second year with Playwrights Foundation, and it's important to listen to the community of playwrights for what kind of changes writers want out of a large open application process, where we're grateful for the opportunity to read and discuss 755 plays. Some of the more noticeable changes from listening to the playwright community included shifting our language because words matter and stop calling it submissions, which has colonialist roots. We also reduced barriers to access by changing our application fee to a sliding scale or a fee waiver for writers in financial hardship. We also followed best practices by increasing payment for our Bay Area Literary Council readers who read and evaluated an average of 33 plays each this spring. I want to take a moment and say, how can we be sustainable by asking playwrights to pay less for fees and yet pay local Bay Area readers more for their time and energy? Donations? Yes. So I'd like to say, please make a donation today so we can continue to pay the artists who make these difficult decisions about what moves forward.
And speaking of donations, we see that we got a donation from Linda Brewer. Thank you, Linda, so much for your $200 donation to start us off today in our fundraiser. Yes, thank you. Bringing that up on the screen. Anybody else can help us get there. We want to have a $1,000 goal by the end of today. And I want to just continue to talk and say, you know, at Playwrights Foundation, one of the ways we move forward in making decisions is by focusing on our values. And we are very values focused and talk about it a lot and are striving to be more transparent about them in our process with each other, but also to you. And our number one value is to radically center our playwrights, and we are continuing to innovate ways to do this in our process, which Heather will go into even more detail a little bit later about that. But in the plays that we select, some of the things that we value are uplifting plays that are pushing the boundaries on form and writing narratives that maybe we haven't heard before, whether that involves culture, race, different abilities, religion, gender, economic status, identity, and much more. We also prioritize emerging playwrights of all ages who may not be a name that most people know yet, but they should, as well as playwrights who are from the Bay Area. So Heather, can you share a little taste about what the selection process looks like behind the scenes?
Absolutely. We've shared already in an article that we posted this week called Studying the Stars in Our Universe of New Plays, how we're determined to make our application and reading process as playwright-centered as possible. We make sure every play is read fully twice in the first round by professional theater makers who are as diverse as the writers who apply. Then in the next round, our 20-member Bay Area Literary Council, some of whom you'll meet in a moment, fully read 130 semifinalist plays 3 additional times. And then for the 35 plays that move on to our finalist round, all of the plays are read by 10 readers. That is a lot of reading and discussion. So we also invited more playwrights to our community of readers than in the past this year. Last year, 33% of our national committee was made up of playwrights. And this season, we increased it to 47% of our community. You can also check out more demographics of our applicant pool in the article, as we aim to be transparent about our process and will continue to reflect on more ways we can create equity in future seasons. So we also changed up our reading process in a more community-centered way so that our readers could have a deeper engagement with the plays and learn more about our values in selecting plays. This had an even deepened resonance during the isolation of the pandemic. To connect and discuss plays together via Slack and Zoom, Associate Literary Manager Kieran Beckia held a bi-monthly Zoom meetings, and we led discussions with readers and answered their questions as we searched for innovative new forms and plays we hope will be produced and speak to the current moment when we're allowed to open theaters again. In addition to our 5 festival playwrights, which we'll announce shortly, we also decided to have 10 finalists that we want to shout out as honorable mentions that truly engaged and moved us. And we really hope they all find future opportunities quickly. Those writers are, and I hope I get all the pronunciations correct. Forgive me, I will send you flowers to your dressing rooms, playwrights, if I mess it up. Alexander Espinoza, she, her, All My Mother's Dream in Spanish. Nancy Garcia Loza, She, Her, Rust. Kristen Idashak, They, She, 3 Antarcticas. Justin P. Lopez, He, Him, The Re-Education of Fernando Morales. Rachel Lynette, She, They, Black Mexican. Megan Chan Monaro, She, Her, The Pre-Med Math Club. David Osmondson, He, Him, Light Switch. Nicholas Pillipel, He, Him, The Bottoming Process. Brian Scanlon, He, Him, Young Men in Recovery. And Sharifa Yasmin, She, Her, The Devil's Between Us.
Thank you so much, Heather. And if you all haven't looked yet, you should also check out our full list of semifinalists and finalists who were announced last week. We'll put a link in the chat, but there were a lot of great playwrights work on that list. And if you were a semifinalist or finalist and you're joining us here today, we want to invite you to introduce yourself and to lift up your play title in the chat. We want to honor your work as well. Okay. It is time to announce our 5 plays and playwrights for this summer's festival that were selected from 755 applications. And in alphabetical order, our first play is When We Breathe by J.Z. Bates, They, She. History-haunted worlds and words collide in this cross-dimensional quest to survive and heal the legacies of colonialization.
Our next play is Human Museum by Miyoko Conley. Human Museum by Miyoko Conley, She, Her, a sci-fi drama set in a world without humans that invites us to imagine humanity's legacy through what or who we leave behind.
And next, we have Tiger Beat by Kayla Mayshing Garvin, They, She. This play with music explores the intersection of power, identity, and artistry when coming of age in the glittery era of early 2000s pop music.
The 4th writer that we're going to invite this season is Supposed Home by Sam Hamashima. Supposed Home by Sam Hamashima, Them Plus, an intergenerational time-bending tale woven through anime that explores the lasting effects of the Japanese-American concentration camps on one family.
And last but not least, we have The Problem with Magic Is by Johnny G. Lloyd, He, Him, a play steeped in magic that explores the power of loss, gentrification, and a spell gone wrong.
All right, so if you could raise a glass with us as we toast our cohort of 5 playwrights and all of the playwrights who applied. Really, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us. Cheers. We will get to meet our cohort of playwrights in a few minutes, so stick around.
Great. So this year, we want to also share, that we are producing the festival entirely online for the 2nd year in a row. So you all from all over will be able to experience the festival and access it from home. One of the opportunities of it being online last year was that we doubled the amount of audience, including people from around the world, and quadrupled the amount of theater professionals who attended, giving even more exposure to our playwrights' work. And what is going to be different this year than last year is we are going to be building some in-person community. And we're going to bring our playwrights into San Francisco and organize some safe in-person small events around the festival, in addition to building on the online community through panel conversations and industry dialogues. And also new this year is we're going to have an evening dedicated to Playwrights Foundation's 5 resident playwrights who are with us for a 4-year residency. And that includes Megan Cohen, Star Finch, Ben Fisher, Nick Maluco, and Dan Wolf. And you'll get an opportunity to engage with their work and get to know them as artists as well. So we hope that you'll tune in for many wonderful events, and perhaps even some small watch parties might pop up all over as some folks are getting back to being with each other in person. And so I also just want to take a moment to thank you for any donations that have come in today, and a reminder that you can text BAPF to 44321 or click on the donation link in the comments to donate to help support the festival this summer. Your support is essential to providing the resources necessary to uplift these playwrights and stories. And the pandemic has laid bare the many inequities, especially for our artists. And this year, we have committed to increasing payment to all of our artists and staff involved in the festival. And your gifts help us be able to do this. And you can text, once again, BAPF to 44321 to donate. And if you're interested in supporting the festival in a more substantial way with a gift of $2,500 or more, we do have opportunities to be a producer for a specific play. So reach out to me if you are interested and have a specific play in mind. And I want to thank the generous donors who have already committed or given over $2,500 towards the festival this summer. And that includes the Turnersville Project, David Goldman, Jean and Fergus Bordewick, Linda Brewer, and Markham Miller. So thank you so much for your donations to help us put forward the festival. And lastly, I have to thank our board of directors who have just been working tirelessly to support us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We couldn't do our work without all of you.
And I also really want to thank our readers. I see so many of you here. Anne-Marie Dittman, I see you. Robin Goldberg, I see you. Elizabeth Spreen on our Literary Council, I see you too. Thank you so much. We had 177 National Committee readers. We had 20 Literary Council readers. Also, thank you so much to Associate Literary Manager Kieran Becchia and Literary Fellow Ileana Theologes Rodriguez. Who here is a reader? Please share in the chat. You did so much hard work and advocacy for these new plays.
Great. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Heather. Wonderful. Well, in a moment, we're going to hear from our readers on the Lit Council to talk a little bit more about these plays that are going to be with us in the festival. But first, let's go back to the live display to see where we are at our $1,000 goal for today. Thank you again to Linda. Thank you to the anonymous donor who gave us $20. Like we said, every little bit counts. And, even if you are anonymous, I want to call you out and thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to talk a little bit about what an amazing experience Playwrights Foundation can provide to playwrights. It's through your generous support that I was able to have a transformative experience last year. I had a play to Saints and Stars that went from being, some pages I wrote in grad school in rural Ohio to being a part of the festival and getting national attention and being seen by people from all over the country. And it isn't just about the work that I did during the festival. It's also about the connections I made and the intentional community building that happened. So since being a part of the festival, Jessica invited me to be a part of the strategic planning committee for Playwrights Foundation. And I never thought as a playwright that I would be participating in conversations about, the vision and values and purpose of the foundation. I never thought I'd be able to have a seat at that kind of table. I also was able to be a part of the Literary Council and read over 40 plays this year in an effort to, find or to uplift the 5 plays as part of this festival. And actually, if all that wasn't enough, I'm actually producing this year's Bay Area Playwrights Festival, which is such a huge gift. And I had no idea that when I applied to the festival back in 2019, that it was going to have such a huge impact on my work as an artist, my career as a arts administrator, and that it would really carry me forward. And these connections and this community building is really what's made possible through all of your donations. So again, thank you to those who have donated. And please, if you can spare anything, we really appreciate your support. Great. So as promised, I would love to bring back Heather and invite 2 members from our Lit Council, AJ and Kunal, to share their thoughts, as well as give a little insight to what it was like being a part of the Lit Council Thank you both, or thank you all so much for being here. I'd love to give you a chance to introduce yourself, pronouns, native lands you're zooming in from, and then a brief experience about being on the Lit Council. Can we start with AJ?
Hi, yes, no problem. Hi, everyone. I'm AJ. I'm zooming in from the Speaking Ohlone people. My connection with BAPF was first as an actor in some of their readings, also as an audience member, and now as a reader for the Lit Council. And what a ride it was this year. I had the privilege of reading over 40 plays as well, and discussing form, plot, themes, the yummies and the ahs with some of the most incredible theater thinkers. It was absolutely a thrill. You all are in for a wonderful festival this year. Even with the heartbreaks and uncertainties of global pandemic, our playwrights, the poets and philosophers, our heartbeats kept going. And I'm honored to have had the opportunity to advocate for their voices and celebrate all of them today. I'm looking forward to the Summer's Festival. And Heather, I'll send it over to you.
Okay, good. I was so excited to be with everyone. Y'all are so smart, and it was just a joy to read these plays, and very emotional too. I think we all really found a lot of plays that we connected to. I'm going to let Kunal talk a little bit more as well, since I've already done so much talking.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, AJ. Being on this council was incredible, because in this very challenging year we've had, I was very curious to hear what playwrights all across the country were feeling and thinking. And what was amazing to me was how much related subjects there were, how much themes woven throughout all these plays. And it made me feel like I wasn't alone. And a lot of things that I was concerned about and I was worried about, and things that I was moved by, I saw in these plays. And I echoed the sentiments of what's already been said. I got passionate about a lot of plays. I felt conflicted about a lot of plays. And what I was most proud about was what incredible theater artists we have in this country, and how all these writers will pull us through into the future.
Absolutely. Thank you all for sharing that.
Well said.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to dive into getting specific and talking about these plays. So we announced the plays in alphabetical order by playwright's last name, but we are going to talk to the playwrights in reverse alphabetical order. So let's start off by talking about The Problem with Magic Is by Johnny G. Lloyd, and then we'll get a chance to talk to Johnny. So AJ, you want to take us away?
Sure thing. So I love the centering of Black magic on contemporary stages, and a reality of collective Blackness that has often been silenced and erased because of colonialism. And this play really brings the joys, the fears, the shock, the horrors of Black magic that comes from gentrification and colonialism. And I am so proud to have uplifted this play. It feels very Bay Area to me, even though the playwright is not from the Bay Area, but also feels like many of the gentrifying hoods in this country that are navigating a spiritual and familial war on staying, leaving, achieving, and loving on lands that we both occupy and that occupies us. I'm excited to see this play on the BAPF stage. Heather.
Great. This play's structure balances both literal time and metaphorical time. It just so well. As we experience a lot of shifts over the course of 3 acts, it's so visceral as it explores the American dream as it relates to Black families owning their own lands and businesses, in this case, a magic shop. On the Literary Council, we discussed that this play is about a Black family dealing with the outside pressure of gentrification, but it's not Black trauma. And then we're guided in this play in the 3rd act by this spirit, timeless, magical entity who claims to be a neutral being, but I enjoy that there's pushback because there's nothing neutral as the two siblings are coming home after the death of their mother.
Great, thank you both. I'd love to bring out Johnny to talk about his play. Hey, Johnny.
Hi, Jordan. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here today and talking to you.
Thanks so much for having me. This is so exciting.
I know, right? It's like, oh, we're live. I'm not used to live theater, live events lately. But so can you tell us all where you're zooming in from today?
Yes, I'm zooming in from Lenape land. I'm in Washington Heights in Manhattan.
Amazing. And we just heard a little bit about the play, but I'd love to hear what inspired you to write this, magical play, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I'm from Asheville, North Carolina, but my family is from DC. And I was lucky enough to spend some time in DC after college with my grandmother, who since passed away. And seeing that city change over the course that I had been there was just really just kind of shocking. And it was really fascinating to watch that transition occur. And as someone who my parents moved away from home and I moved away from home, I think a lot about like land and like whose land is it? Because none of this is our land, right? At the end of the day, but what is my ability to like have a home here and make a home here, and what are the constructs of that? And so that was kind of like the intellectual impetus. And also I just felt like, writing about some, maybe demons, maybe not. It's always like a little fun thing. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I loved reading your play, and I'm just so excited that, people are going to get to see it and experience it. But I'd love to hear from you something that you're excited about this summer.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited just about like the camaraderie and also the level of access. Like, I think that, it's been, it's always a challenge to be on Zoom, but I do think that one of the things that has come out of this period of time that is important is that everyone is really committed to access and being able to view things. And I'm so happy that this is, that this is able to reach such a wide audience of people all across the world. Like, I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, we're so excited, and I'm gonna, wrap this up for now, but we're gonna talk to you a little bit at the end with the Q&A. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Oh, see you soon.
Take care.
So, like I said, we're gonna hear more from our playwrights at the very end with a Q&A. But if you have any questions for the playwrights, for any of them, feel free to put it in the chat box. We'll gather up those questions, and then Jessica will ask some of them of the playwrights at the end of this event. Great. So moving on, I'd love to bring the Lit Council back to talk about Supposed Home by Sam Hamashima. Great. Kunal, can you lead us?
Yes, this play by Sam really affected me emotionally because it's dealing with family history with a grandson and a grandmother, and the grandmother's experience in Japanese American concentration camps during World War II. And with that subject and how challenging it is, there's also this wonderful anime world that captured Shiyu as a child. And then you can see Shiyu as a elderly woman trying to communicate with her grandson, who's just trying to understand their history and the history of our country. And how do we reckon with that? So there was so many poignant moments of generational conflict, of misunderstanding and loss. And it's not a subject we in America talk about enough or know about enough. And I was really moved.
Yes. Absolutely. Thanks, Kamal. And the world of this play is so ambitious. It is highly theatrical, it's intergenerational, and it's yummy, nuanced, and bountiful as a 5-course meal, I would say. It is just so delicious as you're reading this play. And I love it for its many textures as well. You have puppetry in the works. You have this kind of sitting imagery of 2 cardboard figures that are posed in this kind of Americana desert that is in the work as well. And then you also have the potential for so much physicality from these actors. So you get this show that is full of so many textures, playing with form, living in so many different worlds. And I was thrilled to see the anime theme as well that Kanal talked about. So I'm excited to see this play and see what it happens on the stage and in this reading.
Oh yeah, especially in a virtual format too. I think there's a lot of potential for something visually very cool.
Yes, and then and like Sam's imagination. I mean, you all will talk to them later, but wow, explosive! It was so incredible to see and read.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like you provided the perfect segue. So let's talk to Sam about their ambitious play. Yay! Thank you, Sam, for being here.
Hi, Jordan. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so excited to talk about your just absolutely moving and, as everyone has already said, beautifully theatrical play.
Thank you.
Of course. Can you tell us where you're fabulously zooming in from today?
Yeah. Well, hi, everyone. Woo! I'm Sam Hamashima. I use any pronouns, them plus. And I'm zooming in from the Lenape land, also known as New York City.
Amazing. And can you tell us a little bit about, what inspired you to write the play?
Yes. So I started writing this play because there was this certain subject in my life, the Japanese American concentration camps, that kept popping up in strange ways. It's sort of manifesting, in ways my parents would talk to me, the way my grandparents would talk to me. And I noticed that it was always around, right? And I needed to sort of put a magnifying glass on that intergenerational trauma and really look at how it's affecting all of us in different timelines. With my work, I'm also trying to write things that are current and that are relevant. And something I wanted to do was connect this part of my history to the larger American history, or the American present. There's a lot happening right now that really, it's about fences and it's about separation and it's about isolation and what happens when people are afraid to be themselves, right? And I think, it's no mistake that is relevant to today, right? With my play.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's something we've talked about as, it's one of those things where your play is so relevant for, reasons that I wish that it weren't, but I'm just thrilled that you wrote this play and that, more people are going to be able to see it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us maybe something that you're looking forward to in regards to being a part of the festival?
Yes. Well, okay. So with the pandemic, I've been so sad because I don't get to see anyone. Like, you see how I'm dressing up. I like to see people. I like people to ask me about outfits and things. And I really miss seeing people, as silly as that sounds. And so that's what I'm the most excited for, is the community in the Bay Area, as well as the digital community we'll have here with our shows online. I'm meeting the Playwrights, and like we're all talking and, it's not every day you get in a space like this. And so I'm just, it's going to be like Christmas morning every morning.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so excited for you to be able to join us in the Bay this summer. I think it's going to be amazing.
I've never been to the Bay. I'm very
my
excited.
gosh.
Yeah. So please put your recommendations in the comments.
Oh my gosh, you should be doing my job. Yes, people, tell us where Sam needs to go when they visit us this summer. Amazing. Well, we'll see you in a little bit for the Q&A section, but thank you again for...
Yes, much love to you, Jordan, and this whole digital community. Mwah. We're all writing, and we're all the future!
Yes. Amazing. Well, quick reminder that you can support BAPF, Sam and Johnny and all the other playwrights and, all the artists involved in this festival. Just text BAPF to 44321 or click on the link in the comments. So moving forward, let's bring back the Lit Council to talk about Tiger Beat by Kayla Machin Garvin. Amazing. So for this play, great. I'm going to wait for a whole council, but I know, Heather, you wanted to talk about this, so maybe you can start us off.
Absolutely. I'll dive in because this music is actually my generation. So after the intensity of this pandemic year, our readers responded enthusiastically to this very upbeat girl band play set specifically in 2003. Tess, an Asian American from Columbus, Ohio, of the wholesome Girls Next Door group, is the songwriter in the group who experiences microaggressions as their popularity grows on tour. There's a great sister relationship in the play with the older sister Vivian as she tries to protect her from the network. And we're also back to the very beginnings of like reality TV, and we're watching the girls perform drama because, as women, we can't be supportive of each other. We have to be competitive with each other, and drama. And there's also this meta-theatrical twist at the end that we're excited to see this local Bay Area writer explore. As one of the girls says, you wrote what they want you to write.
Thank you, Heather. That was a really good description of the play. I'm also excited about the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s pop surge in America. Also, I really identified with what does it mean to be an American, having a Asian Pacific Islander background, and having that question asked you of like, where are you from, and where was home, and what is it like to be home? It's like, I've been home, I'm here. And also, I really like the exploration of it's very reality television, the lifestyles of these pop stars, and privacy versus attention and the cost of that, and how you're not really compensated, but you want the attention. And, in America, how much does our privacy cost? And are we getting adequately compensated for our work? So those were themes that I was like, oh, this is very right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd love to bring on Kayla to talk a little bit more about those themes. Thank you, everyone. Hey, Kayla.
Hi, Jordan.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to start off by asking you, of course, where you're zooming in from.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I'm zooming in from Ohlone Land in Sunnyvale, California, here in the Bay Area.
Amazing. It's especially exciting for me to, be in community with another Bay Area playwright. So I'm so excited to have you a part of the festival this summer.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you and get sort of acclimated to what's going on in the Bay Area theater scene.
Yeah, absolutely. It's unique and wonderful. We love it, obviously. But I do want to hear what inspired you to write just this absolutely beautiful play with music, that we've been hearing about set in the early aughts. And I'm curious, why this play?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was writing this play for my MFA thesis at Indiana University. And so I was really taking into account some of the resources that being in a program like that has to offer. I was thinking about design. I was thinking about all the things that I love to see on stage, and just like perhaps got a little indulgent with the stuff that I love to see on stage, like singing, like dancing, like pop culture moments, like jokes and humor, and also using that as those fun things, those like sort of frilly things as a framework through which to discuss like power and race and different experiences within America. So yeah, there's sort of an element of nostalgia with the early aught setting, and there's sort of an element of humor throughout the play. But yeah, I wanted to make something that I would want to see that was fun, as well as hopefully deep and rigorous.
Absolutely. I mean, I can definitely co-sign on, like, reading the play. I had so much fun, and it was one of those great plays where you have fun until it gut punches you and you feel all the emotion. And I know that it's been a few years since we've had a play with music at the Bay Area Playwrights Festival. So I'm really excited about that, and that you're giving us the opportunity to play with that a little bit. But I'd love to hear from you. You know, is there something in particular that you're excited about?
I am excited about all of this. I'm really excited for this opportunity to collaborate with other people, to get to know the Bay Area through theater. I grew up here in Mountain View, and I spent about 10 plus years in New York and in the Midwest doing theater, going to grad school, and now I'm back sort of in my hometown. So it just, we were talking in our meeting, like, I just feel like for me, it's really special to, have moved essentially back to my hometown and to have this opportunity and to get to jump into, new play development after the pandemic. I'm just thrilled. I'm so excited, and I'm excited to meet and work with people like you and people like everyone here at the Bay Area Playwrights Foundation has been just so welcoming. So, yeah.
Well, absolutely. I mean, yeah, welcome home, welcome back. Like I said, I'm so excited for this play. So yeah, we'll get to talk to you more in a second with the rest of the playwrights, but I'll just say thank you and see you in a bit.
Thank you, Jordan. See you soon.
See you soon. Great. So now we're going to talk about Human Museum by Miyoko Conley. So yeah, let's bring the Lit Council back. Amazing. Kunal, can you start us off on this one?
Yes, the Human Museum. So confession, I love science fiction, and I love robots as characters, as subject matters. I'm curious about neuroscience and what does it mean to have a consciousness. And I think that this play about populated by robots is right up there with the great works of fiction about robots, because I think robots are a great foil of humanity, and seeing these robots try to understand humans who have been long extinct, says something about us right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything you're saying. I think anyone who saw the festival last year, it's no secret. I also love sci-fi, but this play in particular, I think during the pandemic, I've been asking these like big, daunting existential questions of myself about what do we leave behind as humans? Like, what is it all for? Why do we live and die? And it can be kind of depressing at times, but Miyoko has managed to take these huge questions and ask them in an absolutely hilarious comedy, like you said, populated by robots. It's masterful. I don't know how she manages to have both at the same time and to really juxtapose these big life questions with these wonderful, hilarious characters. But
yeah, there's like a lot of intimate interactions with the robots. And it's just beautiful to see.
Yeah, absolutely. In the way that they have their own language, but it's also, it's a language that we as audiences understand and can hear, but they're still robots at their core. I love it. Yay. Well, let's, without further ado, let's bring Miyoko on to talk a little bit about it. Hi, Miyoko.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today to talk about your absolutely amazing play. Can you tell us all where you're zooming in from?
Yeah, I'm zooming in from Ohlone Land in Berkeley, California.
Amazing. We're like right next to each other. I love it. Well, we were just talking about your absolutely... Oh my gosh, the joy of being live. I was saying earlier, like I missed this. Well, we were just talking with the Lit Council about your, absolutely hilarious sci-fi play, and it would be helpful. I would love to hear about what inspired you to write the play.
Yeah, sure. I guess the first thing I'll say is that I do tend to write about robots. I tend to always go back to them. And I think part of the reason for that, at least I think, is because I really find robots to be very interesting figures as non-human entities that, we as humans do still tend to feel very close to. So that's part of it. And then the other part of it, I think, is just right before I started writing the play, I was really thinking a lot about what we're going to leave behind as humans, as a species. And then I mean that both broadly, like, what we're going to leave on the planet physically, but also more in a sort of individual, personal way about how, there are these stories or information that we get passed down to us through generations. And I was trying to think about how those were going to live, if they're going to live after we are gone, and who or what might be there to see it or pass it along.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was something that I remember being on the Lit Council, all of us talking about that, that comes through on the page, that intention. And it was really wonderful to read at any time, but especially during a year where I think we're thinking a lot about our existence as a species.
Yeah.
So thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about something maybe that you're looking forward to this summer?
Well, Jordan, I'm looking forward to all of it, first off.
Great. Love it
to say that. So looking forward to working with such a great organization and all these fantastic playwrights. I guess for my play specifically, one thing I'm really looking forward to is just being able to work with actors for a more extended period of time to really actually think about how robots would be perhaps, or AI would be in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of those things that you really do need actors reading a script to be able to work on. So I'm so excited you're going to have the time and the space to do that.
Thank you.
Hey, well, we're going to talk to you, in just a second with Jessica with some questions from everyone tuning in today. So thank you. And I'll say goodbye for now. See you soon.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you later.
Yeah. And I'm going to bring back the Lit Council to talk about, the last play that we have to talk about today, which is When We Breathe by J.Z. Bates. I'm wondering, AJ, can you start us off on this one?
I would love to. I believe I have been one of the loudest and most enthusiastic cheerleaders for this play from the first moment I read it in February. Works within the avant-garde are my favorite because they really do speak a lot to the Black and Indigenous reality, right? We as a peoples have lived on the outskirts and in the avant-garde in general. So works that are written by Indigenous and folks of color that are avant-garde specifically, I love them. And this play truly tries to make visible the invisible and to deconstruct and to redefine. This play is a return to the ritual and sacred of theatrical space. it works to craft a world that holds multiple dimensions, as most spiritual and ritual focused practices do. And I love its holdings of pluralities, the reconnections of the land, animal, human, and spirit. And the poetry of the piece is incredible. And there is a beautiful deconstruction of white theatrical narratives in the play. There are no Shakespearean Ophelias here, as the playwright says. I mean, it's just beautiful. I love it so much.
AJ, you put that so well. So what I have to say is the Navajo playwright Lucy Tapahanzo, who I know Jay-Z takes a lot of inspiration from, says, inherent in storytelling is the belief that the events of the story did occur, but not always as facts. Instead, the function of stories is to entertain, that they usually involve some teaching, as well as the exploration of possibilities, besides which require a vivid imagination and a non-judgmental mindset. This play, When We Breathe, delivers on all of that and more. I feel this play is epic. It is a COVID fever dream. And I was absolutely entertained by T, the black sheep, who is, yes, I love T, who is connected as a twin to the Res Raise Z. The play is so well researched, and it's such a wild ride as we go through that research. And it's a play that demands to be taken on its own terms. I want to see this play produced everywhere, from large Shakespearean theater festivals to regional theaters, and also small community-centered circles. The poetic language is difficult but beautiful, and it's exactly the kind of theater I want to come back to after COVID, as we recognize the harm that has been done with COVID to Indigenous communities.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful fever dream, this play. And haven't we been living in a fever dream? Not necessarily beautiful at all times, but it's beautiful and dangerous and scary. And I love it about this play, because it allows us to live in that horror of what the pandemic did to us as a community, as a culture. I love it.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk to Jay-Z in a second, but before we do, I want to take a moment to say thank you to AJ and Kunal, specifically since, we're about to say goodbye to you for today, but I want to thank you so much for the generosity of your time in being with us. Thank you for all of your thoughtful contributions today and throughout the whole process. It's been wonderful to be in this virtual space with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both.
Great. So yeah, let's bring on Jay-Z for one more playwright conversation. Hi, Jay-Z.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited to get the chance to talk to you. Can you tell us where you're joining us from today?
I'm in Los Angeles, which is the traditional, ancestral, and unceded land of the Chumash, the Tongva, and the Tataviam.
Amazing, thank you. And we just heard, some people from our Lit Council talk about your absolutely gorgeous play. But of course we want to truly gorgeous, but of course we want to hear from you a little bit, if you can share with us about what inspired you to write it.
First and foremost, this new play, which was written with the Vagrancy LA Writers Group, would never ever exist without the collaboration and consultation of Navajo Nation citizens, with special shout outs to Geraldine Keems and Blossom Johnson, and the acknowledgement that all errors are mine. At its heart, it ended up being exploration of language, our shared language, our English language as epitomized by Shakespeare, and how it perpetuates the legacies of colonization. And it ended up being a love letter testimony to Indigenous communities' resilience, strength, humor, hope, and healing. Hopefully.
Absolutely. It feels like a love letter reading it, and it's, the use of language like we've all been talking about is just it's wonderful. Like I don't want to say too much, but I can't wait for everyone to see it this summer. I'm wondering if you can share with us maybe something that you're looking forward to about the festival moving forward.
Oh, there is so much that I'm looking forward to. The opportunity to have time in community, especially after this year of being in complete isolation here in my little apartment in LA, to be in community with Bay Area artists and with the playwright cohort, and to be gifted the time for the first time in my life to spend an extended period of time really working and moving through words and worlds in a script, and to do that in community and collaboration is just, I'm still in awe and just so much gratitude.
I feel very grateful that you're a part of the Playwrights Foundation community. Truly, it's been wonderful to get to know you over, the past couple of weeks, and I can't wait to see, where we go from here and to see the play in the festival this summer. So thank you. We're going to talk to you in just a second with Jessica, truly, but I'm going to let you get off screen for a moment. But yes, a reminder to everyone watching, Jessica's going to talk to the whole cohort. So if you have any questions for the writers, now is the time to drop it in the chat. But before we get to that, I would be remiss if I didn't check in with the live display, because I see some exciting things have happened since I last talked to you all about it. We have exceeded our initial $1,000 goal, which thank you to everyone who has donated. I think now that we've hit 1,000, let's see if we can make it 1,500, because like we said at the beginning, our overall goal is 20,000 to support the festival. So if you can give more, please, or if you haven't been able to, please give. I want to shout out to the people who have given. We have a $250 donation. Oh gosh, and again, forgiveness if I ruin people's names. Message us if I mispronounced it. I'll do it again. $250 donation from Ditka Reiner, thank you. $100 from Mary Lou Torre, $50 from Marka Miller, $20 from Brian Scallon, who, if you remember, is one of our honorable mention playwrights. So thank you for giving back. $103 from Jane Wegner, who, I had the pleasure of working with last year on the festival. Thank you, Jane. $100 to Chris Smith. $100 to Jean and Fergus Bordwich. Thank you for your commitment in the chat. $200 from Jonathan Pontel. Oh my God, I feel overwhelmed with the generosity and support that you have all shown tonight. I can't thank you enough. But I know you don't all want to keep hearing me talk, that you want to hear from the playwrights some more. So I'm going to turn it over to Jessica and the playwrights for the Q&A. So last chance to get your questions into the chat.
Great. Thank you so much, Jordan. All right. The playwrights are going to be joining us here in a second, and we're going to have a little chat for about 5 to 7 minutes with the full cohort. But I know they are joining. Hello. Oh my goodness. It is so wonderful to have all of you in the same virtual space here and celebrate your work. And we can't wait to have you here in this summer in San Francisco. Of course, if everything continues to be safe, always have to say that disclaimer, but we have high hopes now. We have a couple questions from the audience, but I do kind of want to just jump in and say, like, you all just met each other for the first time on Thursday and have been in a virtual green room for this launch party. I mean, what makes you excited about your cohort for this summer?
Well, Johnny and I are both from North Carolina, so I'm really excited to talk to him about that.
We've connected on Sweet Tea already.
Yeah, so. one of many things. I mean, I'm just really excited. Yeah, it's so fun to talk to y'all. You're great.
Yeah, we've been having a really great time in the backstage area, just like getting to know each other. It's been really fun.
I love that. And feel free, you all to just kind of unmute and speak into the space, if you have something to share. Jay-Z, was that an unmute?
These people are amazing. I was actually muting because I was like, oh, I don't know if there's noise going on here or whatever, but blessings to all of you all for the first green room experience in a really long time. And it was just such a blessing to be in a room with these people. And I cannot wait to be in the same actual room with you all. So excited about all of your plays and about the collaboration. And they were already talking about like who's cooking what and who's baking what. Just way too excited. And now I'm muting.
And we're all in like different hues. Like we were like, wow, we're like the Power Rangers or something. Like I also think like all of our plays are super, like we're all very different in our aesthetics. And so it's like, it's just fun hearing it from the person, you know what I mean? And being like, this is cool. We're all super different. And when was the last time you got to meet a bunch of different people and they were like nice to you? You know what I mean? Amazing.
No, yeah. When we all met in rehearsal, that was the first time I met this many new people at once in, I want to say, in a really, really long time. And it was lovely, but everyone was so lovely. So I'm really excited to continue getting to know everybody.
It also motivates me to like not to like spin this on like, we're all writers, but like it makes me like want to write more when I see other playwrights, because like we're usually like not together when we're writing. And so when I get to see other people, it like actually like makes me like the visibility of seeing other people doing that makes me be like, oh, tomorrow I think I will write. It's very comforting to have that community. And I think that's something that is different. Like pre-pandemic, we didn't have something like this. So this is really awesome.
Yeah, it's so great to hear. I mean, even when we were thinking about this summer, like, what's the festival going to look like and where do we put our resources, and really being like, you know what, we're going to put our resources to bringing the playwrights together, even if the festival is going to be online, and giving you that time and space together, which really, I'll say Jordan, being our festival producer, has been awesome in that way. She's like, this is what I would have wanted as a playwright, is like to be in space with other playwrights. That is, a gift and a joy. So it's awesome to hear that's happening already in the green room. We do have one question from, the chat that I want to share and see who wants to dig into it. But Megan Cohen, one of our resident playwrights at Playwrights Foundation, says, I love the sizes of the worlds and visions in these plays and would love to hear something from each of the playwrights learned or discovered while writing. So it can just be a little sprinkle of something. So something that you've learned or discovered while writing. Who wants to jump in first?
I mean, one thing really comes to mind, like when you're building a very specific or like large world, the minute you change like one thing is like the same minute you have to start from the beginning of the play and just read through and be like, does this make sense now? Like, I usually have a sticky note of a large adjustment like on my laptop while I'm reading the draft, and every page I'm like, yep, okay, so this still works with the rules. Yep, that too. So that's something I've learned about, you know, working with a large landscape. Certainly my script has like taught me like a lot about myself and a lot like about my own process. But, you know, I just wanted to start the lawnmower on that conversation. Great.
Thanks, Sam. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Jump in, Johnny.
I was just going to say, so I think like I'm about to get like super in the weeds, but why not? As like a playwright, generally I'm like a very like structure oriented person. Like I very much like to like know like how the thing is like laid out. And I do a lot of that discovering like as I go, but also like once it kind of like clicks, I'm like, oh, okay, like great. This is what the clicking is. And I think with building like a very, when you build like a very rich world, sometimes actually you have to like you have to kind of jump first. Like you have to like kind of jump into the world and like hope that the world catches you, which is something that like because the problem with magic kind of like travels through a couple of different worlds. And when I got to the last section, I was like, oh, okay, like this is free fall. And like, I just need to trust that I'm falling into something that is honest and truthful and like makes sense with whatever else has been built, because, you know, I have something to catch me. And if I don't, then that's actually fine. But I think when you're working with structure, sometimes it can be a little bit scary to take that jump, and it's so necessary.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share?
I love what you were just saying, Johnny. I definitely had a long time with this play where I was, really stuck. I had what I was calling a full draft, but like, you know, it was a little dicey. And I was trying to figure out how I wanted to rewrite it. And I really respond to what Johnny was just saying about like the idea of like a leap of faith. Like I just had to I have like a video on my phone of it where I highlighted like 40 pages and I deleted them. And I was just like, we're just going to write from this point and like redo it. And so I think beyond learning all the important things like about myself and about what I'm interested in theater, I also with this play really learned to try and trust myself when I'm rewriting, to really jump in and hopefully get more of that good work done over the summer here, but to trust that I can move forward with edits to really change the play in kind of dramatic and scary ways, and that I always have a bad draft to fall back on.
Great, thanks. Anyone else want to share? You don't have to. I can move on to the next question, but want to give space, Jay-Z or Miyoko, if you want to jump in.
I was thinking a little bit also about what Sam was saying, and with my play, when I was writing it, I had a moment where I had to reconceptualize how time would be passing for the characters in the play, because they do not experience time the way I would, or perhaps many people would, because we have time structured in a very specific way. So it just actually really caused me to go for a moment and be like, oh, is everything else in the play like that? Is like everything kind of being experienced in a way that I wouldn't have experienced it? So that's one of the things I think is it just sort of really taught me to like sort of question a lot of my assumptions that I was making about how certain things were passing in the play.
Great, thank you.
I'll jump in. I had the experience for the first time of collaborating with citizens of a community of which I am not a member, and in a play that is very much about language. It was an extraordinary revelation to me, my assumptions about language and how I move through it, and how, a specific thing that completely blew my mind and completely changed the play was I knew to avoid this one word, or actually, yeah, it's one word in the English language. I knew to avoid it. I knew that that was not a a safe word. You needed to respectfully step away from that word. And so I used another word all over the play. And then Blossom Johnson, who is a citizen of the Navajo Nation, an incredible playwright, also a dramaturg and director, touched base with me on the play and read it and said, you know that this word is worse than the word that you're like trying to avoid? And for that revelation of my use of language contributing to something that I was trying to bust out of through this story, just really opened my eyes to the perspectives and multiple dimensions from words and how we use them and how they're perceived. And it really changed the play. Long answer, sorry.
No, it was great. Thank you all for so generously sharing and giving us an insight into how you all work. So our last question is actually a specific question for you, Sam, which is there a specific anime or anime series that influenced your piece for BAPF, or is it just a broad inspiration?
Wow, I could talk about this all day. Okay, so we were joking about in the back room. I'm taking any questions except about my love life. So when you were like, just for you, I was like, this better not be about my love life. Well, for me, I get a lot of my inspiration from Hayao Miyazaki's Studio Ghibli films. They're very like masterful in the way soft world building is used. There's like two different techniques. Basically, there's like soft world building versus hard world building. Hard world building is mostly like J.R.R. Tolkien, where like there's a currency and there's an alphabet. Whereas like soft world building is things are revealed throughout the entire scope of the work. Like creating pockets of mystery and pockets of what reality will be. That's where I get most of my inspiration from, especially like in terms of allegory. But I would always say start with Cardcaptor Sakura. It's on Netflix. It allows me to be like my magical, flamboyant self. And it's the first time I saw people who were Japanese but spoke English, because I couldn't speak Japanese. And so there was like this sort of representation rift between me and TV film for a long time until I discovered like English anime. Because I was like, oh, these people look like me and they're like dressing like me and they eat sushi. So what's up?
I love that. Thanks. Thanks so much, Sam, for sharing. And thank you all for joining us and having a conversation. And I know everybody has been excited, to hear more from you. And I know it's not easy to like hop on a live stream when normally you get to like just, write the words and have someone else talk about them. So thank you. So we're going to say goodbye to our playwrights, but we hope all of you come back at the festival and get to, hear their work and hear more from them in our different events. So thank you all. And we're going to invite Jordan back one more time.
Yay. Oh, yes, that was wonderful. Oh my gosh, that brought me so much joy. Hearing all of the playwrights talk. That was amazing. Anyway, sorry, back to what I'm here to do. I want to give one last shout out to everyone who donated tonight and pull up the live display. Let's see, have we met our goal? We have! Oh my gosh. Oh, my heart is so full. Thank you. Thank you to the people who have donated recently. Thank you to Octavio Solis for his $200 donation. Thank you to Carol. I'm going to go with Ito, $150. Thank you to Anthony A. Mitchell, over $100. And now we have hit $1,575. Thank you. I can't express how grateful I am, how excited I am to share all of these amazing plays with you and the world this summer. This festival wouldn't happen without all of your support. So thank you to everyone who has donated tonight. And also a huge thank you to everyone watching right now. I'm blown away by how many people have participated in the conversation. That support also is so meaningful to building this community. I have to shout out our streaming producer, Liana Keys, and our PS staff, Naila Harper-Malvo. who have been tirelessly working behind the scenes. This would not have happened without either of them. So if you can't tell, everyone here at Playwrights Foundation is so excited for this summer, and we hope you are too. Let us know in the comments what you're looking forward to in the festival. Even though we can't, we won't be holding the festival in person this summer, we hope that you're still able to gather around these bold new stories. So stay engaged with us over these next few months. Join us for the live readings and events. That'll be July 16th through 25th. And tickets are going to go on sale June 15th. So right around the corner. Mark your calendars, and we'll see you all in July. Thank you.